the way you created text lien code, and particularly the way it's run, is that you have the same level of pride, craftsmanship, customer service experience. All of those things that you praise Japan about, they're magnified, I think, in text lien code.
Welcome back to another episode of Success Chronicles, where we're talking to rule breakers, and today it was Robert and Emiko Eldridge. We woke them up so early in the morning. They live in Japan, and so it was 5 a.m. in Japan when we talked to them. They got up just to talk to us about their experience investing in tax liens. And one of the things that I discovered about Robert and Emiko is how busy they are. They have a full professional career going on in Japan. So why in the world would they want to invest in tax liens in America? Check it out. Thank you for doing this, by the way. I know the time zones have been a little bit challenging. What time is it in Japan right now?
So it's almost 5, just 5 a.m. now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm usually up around this time, but
Okay.
not really doing interviews or anything else other than have my coffee. So
Well, I appreciate you jumping on this early. Emiko, hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's I appreciate you jumping on as well.
it took some convincing.
Did it?
Yeah, confidence with English.
Yeah.
For example, most of our conversations in Japanese.
Okay. Well, let's see. Ohayou gozaimasu.
おはようございます。
My 25年前に東北に住みました。
わあ、すごい。
2年間ぐらい。
In Yamagata Prefecture, right?
So I kind of all over Tohoku. So I lived in Tsuruoka, which is over kind of by Akita, for a couple months, and then moved to just a suburb of Sendai, Tagajo, if you know Tagajo, right up on the kind of up on the ocean, and then I moved up to Misawa, up in Aomori, Ken, for 6 months, and then Hachinohe for about 8 months.
Wow.
So kind of all over the coastlines, up kind of that northern end. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And was that as a missionary?
I was a missionary. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay.
for 2 years. So all day long Japanese speaking, and my Japanese was probably pretty good back then compared to now. It's been, let's see, that was 2001. So it's 24 years ago that I guess
Yeah.
not 25 years. I told you 25 years. It's been 24 years since I've been home. So not so good anymore. 忘れてしまいました。Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot came back to you this summer when you visited again. So
Yeah, it was, I guess if you ask my wife, she would probably give you a different answer. I felt like my Japanese was awful. And she, it was fun to have that, because I hadn't been back. I'd flown through Tokyo on my way to like Hong Kong or Singapore a couple times, but I'd never actually been back, and so I'd never really been forced to use it. And so it was a lot of fun trying. I think the Japanese culture is so generous and so helpful, but even more so if you're trying to speak in Japanese. If you attempt and you make a fool out of yourself, I found that they were even more generous than I would have expected.
yeah, I think they call it pity. So
I'll definitely take it. We got off the train and we were getting to our hotel, and it was up and over like a sky bridge around the road, and we got kind of lost, and this Japanese woman, I felt pity, and walked us 2 or 3 blocks around out of her way to take us back to the right spot.
that's great. I had a similar experience. I used to live in France before I moved to Japan.
Okay.
And then after moving here, I completely forgot French.
Yeah.
And then after close to 24 years, my wife and children and I went to France.
Yeah.
And trying to remember French was really, really hard. But it started to kick in after a while.
Yeah.
But it takes a while.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, so let's answer some preliminary questions. As people are watching this video, the first question that I think people are going to be asking is, how did we meet? Like, you're in Japan. You live in Japan, and
Correct.
I want to get into your bio and your history in just a second. But how did you get involved with Tax Lien Code? Like, because we don't do events in Japan, but how did you get
Correct.
involved with Tax Lien Code?
So earlier this year, 2025, I spent the first 6 months in Hawaii, and I should say back in Hawaii,
Okay.
because my wife and children and I lived in Hawaii 20 years ago
Wow.
as part of a sabbatical from the university I was teaching at.
Okay.
And I had a working sabbatical, which meant that in addition to my research and studies, I decided to affiliate with the U.S. military in Hawaii.
Okay.
And really fell in love with the state. And we ended up purchasing a property there with the intent to live there in the future.
Yeah.
So I was back in Hawaii to check on the property, get it renovated because we were renting it out, and then kind of like thinking about, what our next steps were going to be.
Yeah.
And I was open to, a lot of opportunities to study. And so I'd previously been in an MBA program. I got my MBA this year.
Okay.
I got my real estate license this year.
Wow.
And was studying a whole lot of different things. I had a lot of free time that I could devote to, self-improvement.
Yeah.
And a seminar that was sort of like holistic, that had investing, tax liens, financial literacy, all of those things involved in this seminar. And that was the first time I heard about tax lien.
Yeah.
And then I got really, excited about it. And then by chance, either on Facebook or YouTube, your program came up. And I signed up for a class in Hawaii. And my wife came over to Hawaii at that point. And then I told her that we signed up for the class.
Yeah.
And it was at a beautiful hotel that we have very special memories at.
Okay.
The Hilton Hawaiian Village.
Yeah.
And so we went to the class. We really enjoyed the instruction, the atmosphere, the people involved with Tax Lien Code, and then so we signed on for the 3-day program after that.
Yeah.
And then that was I'd say about 9 or 10 days later, maybe a week later.
Yeah.
And we participated in that. And then a month later, there was the boot camp, the workshops there.
Yeah.
So, it was a gradual process, but it moved very quickly as far as the opportunities that Tax Lien Code presented.
Well, okay, so the first question that comes to my mind, now you're back in Japan. You spent a little bit of time in Hawaii, but you're back in Japan now. Have you checked to see if Japan does tax liens?
We have looked into it.
Yeah.
They have auctions and stuff like that, but as far as the full-blown tax liens, it doesn't seem like they do. And we both believe it would be a great market for Japanese to get involved in stateside.
Yeah.
I think currently the taxing authorities in Japan, as well as the government, the approach that the U.S. does with tax lien certificates and whatnot, I think is kind of alien to them.
Yeah.
Down the road, because of the various budget crunches that the local communities have throughout the country, because of the declining population
Yeah.
and the reliance on the central government that a lot of the local authorities have, maybe down the road they'd be open to something like this.
Now, this might be a strange question, but do they pay property tax in Japan?
They do,
Okay.
yes, or I should say we do.
You
yes.
do, yeah. So you own property in Japan. You're down in Kobe, Kyoto, or Osaka area, right?
Correct. We're right in between Osaka and Kobe.
All right. So I guess the next logical question for me is, what happens if somebody doesn't pay their property tax? Like, is there a process in Japan right now?
I think there's some forgiveness
Okay.
that takes place.
Yeah.
They're not going to seize the property, for a while. There are, as you may be aware, a lot of abandoned
Yeah.
homes and properties. And that probably has to do with the fact that people are no longer able to make payments. They may be at an advanced age, or due to they have horrific inheritance taxes over here. And so, families that, acquire property through inheritance, for whatever reason, they don't want to, maintain it.
Yeah.
But that'll require further study on our end about, if it's applicable here, like what can be done.
Yeah.
But as far as having Japanese invest in tax liens in the United States, I think there'd be a huge demand for that.
Yeah. Obviously one of the reasons I love tax liens, and you're living proof of it, is that you can invest in tax liens from anywhere. It's one of the things that I hear so many times of like, yeah, but they don't do tax liens in my state. I live in California, and California doesn't do tax liens, so I can't invest, or my county doesn't do it that way, or whatever. And the thing that I always try to tell people is, it doesn't matter. Like, you can invest in any tax lien, doesn't matter where you live and where the tax lien is, but you're the most appropriate response to that question or that comment, because everything you're buying is from you living in Japan.
Correct. I've enjoyed watching all of the Success Chronicles to date. So I'm anticipating the question that's going to come.
Okay.
But yeah, like, how are we able to do it,
Sure.
from abroad?
Yeah.
And is it doable? So we're able to do it, I think, in my case, because I had been back in the United States and was able to attend several, sessions in person.
Yeah.
So that really gave me the confidence to be able to do it. And then from there, when I did return to Japan in the beginning of July this year, I already had a very good working knowledge. I had the support of, my wife. I had in-person interaction with almost everybody,
Yeah.
on your team. I was able to attend multiple events. I went to the expo in late May in Kansas City.
Right.
And then a few weeks later, I flew Hawaii, Japan, back to Kansas.
Yeah. Full on
and
trip for you.
attended the real estate summit.
Yeah.
And so the interactions with the tax lien code staff, plus what we call the larger community or family,
Yeah.
like all the fellow participants and students,
Sure.
that really gave me the confidence to be able to do it from abroad. So I think that was probably more on a personal level. Was I ready to be able to do it, take that leap? But technology wise, for the most part, I think it is easy to do it from abroad. There are certain counties and states where they may make it a little bit more challenging and difficult. And certain counties and states require U.S. citizenship or some sort of, residency,
Yeah.
in the United States, bank accounts, social security accounts, and things like that. In our case, that's not an issue whatsoever. So we're able to do that. The only challenge I would say about doing it from abroad is the time difference.
Sure.
And that's not something that Brian Peterson can change by an act of
Yeah, sure.
by an act of Brian Peterson. So that requires, getting up early, staying up late, and kind of matching our schedules to fit that. And then probably the other related challenge is being physically removed from the day-to-day interactions that we could have. Sometimes causes us or me to kind of fall back into the old work that I do or did.
Yeah.
So I would get busy with my research and scholarship
Yeah.
and not be able to focus as much as I would like on tax lien. So those are just some challenges, but they're more
Yeah.
personal in nature.
Emiko, what's it like for you? What does it feel like for you to, because Robert's been so involved and been going to all the classes, have you been involved in the investment side or has it largely been Robert? Do you want,
So
yeah.
we have I think a good kind of like roles and missions approach to it. So, and in our marriage and life and things like that. So kind of who's better at a certain task, that person would usually take it on.
Yeah.
And Emiko likes, when we're looking through tax liens or deeds, looking at the properties, and she probably does more due diligence than is necessary, but it's fun for her because she gets to see all different states and counties and neighborhoods and how Americans live. And she's lived in the States before, and also when we worked for the U.S. military abroad, we lived in sort of an American community environment. So she's familiar with it, but a lot of ideas about house decorations or how houses are looking now, geography. So she does a lot of that kind of research, and I do a lot of the more mechanical
Yeah.
side of things, or handling the interactions with the banks or the accounts. So that would be an example of that. But her support the whole time's been the thing that's been able to allow me to really keep going. If she was indifferent to it,
Yeah.
then it might not have been as fun or as easy for me to do it. And she attended the first several key events
Yeah.
together and making notes, enjoying the lectures. And we would review things that maybe she didn't understand or vice versa. I didn't understand, but she picked up on it very, very quickly.
There was years ago, I was actually traveling a lot to Asia to teach finance class in Hong Kong and Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, a couple, and they were kind of more basic of just normal financial basics 101 and a little bit of real estate investing. And when we'd go to Hong Kong, I was shocked at the rates of return in Hong Kong real estate. They were like 2 to 3% ROI if you bought investment property in Hong Kong. What's it like in Japan? Like you mentioned, your bio is impressive, and I want to get to your professional background, but your kids are involved in real estate, and I hear a little bit involved in tax lien investing now. But what are the rates of return in Japan? Are they pretty good, or are they horrible like Hong Kong was?
It really depends on the area that you're involved in.
Yeah.
So right now, the cities, Osaka, for example, Tokyo, the return on investment can be and is very high.
Okay.
More and more people, as you know, migrate to the cities.
Yeah.
Whereas in the countryside, the rates of the return on investment, wouldn't be as high. However, if you're savvy about what you do with the property, and then also, one of the things we learned in tax lien code is that you make your profit essentially when you buy the property. So if you can get a good property without any issues involved, and then you are able to either flip it or do something with it to make it an attractive investment, then the return
That's
on
okay.
investment would be good. If it's for simple renting
Yeah.
or like normal usage, it may not be as high.
Is that what led you to be interested in the US? Well, maybe a two-part question. Is it hard to manage this from Japan? Is it hard to learn while you're over there? And I imagine it's harder for you than it is for me, right, to manage, especially maybe for Emiko. And why? Right? Like if the returns are okay in Japan and you could just invest in Japan where you are, where it'd be simpler because of geography, why not do it in Japan instead of coming over and buying tax liens in the US?
I think our interest in investing in the U.S. was particularly earlier this year. We weren't sure, if we're going to shift our, involvement, professional as well as other things, more to the U.S. or continue to be in Japan. So
Yeah.
we basically have a leg in both countries, and we diversify, but also try to be flexible. That if we, for whatever reason, we need to be in Japan, we'll be in Japan, be in the States. That way we can go to either country when we need to. If I were in Japan and not in Hawaii earlier this year, there's probably a good chance I wouldn't have learned about tax lien code.
Yeah, for sure.
Just from what I was interested at the time and what the items and opportunities that were coming across, what I was looking at. It doesn't mean I would never have learned about it eventually, but I think just so many things came together earlier this year that brought me to the tax lien code, family. As far as investing in Japan, we will continue to invest here,
Yeah.
and particularly, watching our kids, be involved in real estate. So our daughter's the older of the two, and she lives in the countryside of one of the four main islands of Japan, and she's been long involved in community development, and so she participated in a government program. It's sort of like a domestic Peace Corps in Japan. And they work with communities, usually of people 5,000 and less, to sort of revitalize those communities. And it's a 3-year program. She did that, and they hope that you stay on in the town and either start a business or do something with the town. So she's actually started several businesses.
Good for
One
her.
of those is essentially flipping countryside farmhouses. And so she's turned several properties into Airbnbs and share workspaces, things like that. And she's rocking it. And she recently developed a contract with the town to basically handle their projects.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it. She's not alone, but she has a lot on her plate. It sort of comes from me. I like to have multiple things going on simultaneously. So I'm very, proud to watch her. Our son is also involved in real estate, probably at the opposite spectrum. And he was scooped up by a very large real estate development company in Tokyo. It's considered the fastest growing company in that field in Japan. And they do hotel development.
Okay.
And in sort of areas that are, I guess you would say, underserviced. They're countryside areas for the most part that their charm hasn't really been truly discovered before. So they're focusing on those areas, and they're that company's seeing really high growth, and so my son is doing that. Both of them, you know, want to be entrepreneurs in the future. My daughter already is. My son is on that path.
Yeah.
Real estate won't be probably the main thing for them, but it'll be, I think, an important pillar or part of that.
I heard that they've both bought tax liens. Is that right?
They haven't bought them yet, but they're familiar with it, and we're keeping them abreast of, you know, what we're doing, how we're doing, and because they're both so busy, we haven't had a family huddle where we sit down with
Yeah.
them, you know, collectively and go through it. But they're
Yeah.
aware of it, and they are interested in it. And since we've gotten 3 redemptions already, that's further proof that it does work, you know,
Yeah.
so we can show them.
Did you get a check in the mail, or did you just get an ACH deposit?
In our case, we got checks,
Yeah.
but they are sent, you know, really only in our case so far to a domestic address, and so we're using a domestic address in the U.S. of a family member,
Okay.
and so they were sent to him, and then he forwarded them on to us. So in that sense, it was a little bit anticlimactic
Yeah.
in that he opened it for us. He told us the news, and then later the checks actually came.
Yeah.
So rather than us being able to open it up,
Open the check.
you know, yeah. And then so people may be thinking, okay, well, how are you depositing it? Nowadays, it's very easy to deposit checks, you know, mobilely.
Yeah.
And so we don't have the problems that we had, you know, a few years ago with having to have a trusted banker that we could send the checks to that he or she could then deposit. So now, you know, you just take a photo of it, input the information.
Yeah, there's so many challenges that you face that most people would never think of, like that, right? Like it comes in the mail, and I just go down to the bank and I deposit it. I don't have to think about it. You have another layer of challenge that you have to face. And so it's just
Oh, yeah.
so many unique things you have to think through that I wouldn't have even considered until you mentioned that cashing a check would be hard.
Yeah, and years ago, so I've been in Japan for 35 years. I left the United States to come here for 1 year 35 years ago in
You got
1990.
stuck.
If you can imagine, and a lot of the viewers who are of similar age, you know, can remember the pre-internet days and, you know, a lot of the physical stuff you had to do, that would be exponentially compounded when you're abroad. And so, you know, we would have missed opportunities in some cases, or there were time delays in some cases for certain documents, and even today, but particularly, you know, back in the day, you would need it notarized.
Uh-huh.
So we'd have to go to the U.S. Embassy or the consulate
Get something
and things like
notarized.
that. But it, you know, it's gotten a whole lot easier. And one of the things about tax lien code, and particularly, you know, your team and the instructors, is that on so many things they prepare, you know, like a guideline about this is what you need to do, this is when you need to do it, this is how you need to do it, and that I wouldn't call it mechanical, but that process-oriented approach to everything helps us with indirectly related things. You know, we have this box we need to check. You know, have we gone through this and made sure, you know, we did everything we need to make this happen? So we become, I think, even more process-oriented, and I attribute a lot of that to tax lien code.
Well, I feel like I could talk to you guys for hours, and I want to be conscious of your time and the other things you have going on. But you've been in Japan now for a long time, and your bio is truly impressive. Give me like the quick 30-second, 60-second bio maybe everybody understands what you've been doing in Japan, because I have a follow-up question, but give me a quick idea of what it is that you've been doing.
My everybody asked me that, so including my family back in the States. But the I originally came to Japan with the intention of getting a perspective on the world outside of Europe and the Western Hemisphere. And back in 1990, there was a lot of U.S.-Japan trade friction. Japan was being viewed as potentially economically surpassing the United States. And so I was very curious about the Japan that everybody was talking about. And I didn't have any preconceptions. I wasn't infatuated with the country, but I didn't view it necessarily in a hostile manner either.
Yeah.
And I was intending to go into the U.S. State Department as a diplomat, or to go into one of the acronym agencies, wink, wink, if you know what I mean. And so I wanted to have a better understanding of what Japan was about. Eventually, I ended up staying longer than the original 1 year. 1 year became 2 years, and then eventually 35 years. More than 31 years ago, my wife and I met, and that further solidified my connection with Japan. And partway through, I got my doctorate in Japanese political and diplomatic history, so political science. And I taught at a national university, conducted research. My research got the attention of the U.S. government in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I was scouted by the Marine Corps, the Department of Defense, and worked with them for two different, terms. And then 10 years ago, I started my own think tank and business. So I kind of combine politics with policy, U.S.-Japan relations, community development I'm passionate about here in Japan, trying to be a bridge between the United States and Japan.
And you recently met at least the first ever female prime minister.
Yeah, well, we've known each other for quite a while. She's an alumnus of my university here in
Cool.
Japan, so she's been on my radar for 31 years, and my senpai, my upperclassman at the university, told me, watch out for this person because she's going to become prime minister, first female prime minister.
Sure enough.
And it took everybody, or it took a whole lot longer. So as of the time of this recording, technically she's not the prime minister yet. She's the head of the ruling party.
Okay.
But they still have to go through another level of nominations and selections. But hopefully she'll be chosen prime minister.
Okay, so the question that I wanted to get to is your level. You mentioned this a little bit with your kids, but the distractions and the balance has got to be a challenge for you. You've got so many pulls professionally. You've done so well in your professional career. How do you balance that? How do you prioritize the investment side and the growth of the real estate stuff with what you were doing in your normal career?
I've always had, I think throughout my life, I've always kind of multitasked.
Okay.
And like to have a lot of things going. I probably get bored a little bit easy, so I need to have multiple things going. But as you're alluding to, they're completely different. My previous / current occupation, plus getting involved with tax lien code and the different investing opportunities, real estate. Because the areas are completely different, rather than in a typical day trying to do both, the way I manage and we manage things is we'll set aside whole days or parts of a week to focus on certain things. So I'm currently working on a few different books right now. So when I'm in the writing mode or the research mode, then I'll focus on that. And for the most part, I won't be able to give any thought or time to real estate investing, tax lien code.
Yeah.
But uh, but then I'll put a stop to the research and writing, and then focus on personal growth, and the investing side. And those are the days I get particularly excited. I get really, really pumped up. So in my case, it's rather than trying to do everything at once or in one day, I'll divide the days, and I'll have this part of the week devoted to this and this part devoted to that. So yeah, that's kind of the approach that I use.
Well, in maybe one final question for you, because I love all the messages. I love seeing you on Discover. I love all the comments in that community. It's fun for me to see. But one of the things that stuck out to me is you watch every single episode of Success Chronicles. And you comment on them, and you share so much of what it meant to you and what you got. What's been the biggest thing that you've learned by watching Success Chronicles?
Oh, well, every one I watch, there's something new that I learn, and it's not just the Success Chronicles, but I think it's what Tax Lien Code is all about. You've brought together so many different types of people, all walks of life, all ethnic groups, all parts of the country, and in some cases the world. You recently had the couple from Saipan, and they were in America, Samoa at the time.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're going to have more and more people from like all around the globe. It's that everybody has a background, a story, and they have something that they can bring to it, something that they're getting from it, and it the Success Chronicles kind of equals the playing field. And so, people can share their experiences and their lessons. Everybody I think, gets something out of the Success Chronicles, as well as the the short videos that are shared too. So again, you and your team, Joshua, Christina, everybody does such a great job. And these Success Chronicles been great for me. And then finally, it allows me, somebody who's geographically far removed from the scene, to be connected with Tax Lien Code. And so many of the people you've interviewed, I've met in person. So it's great to see them. It's great to see their success. The couple that won 182 tax liens.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me.
Oh, cool.
At the Kansas City event.
Yeah.
And it was great to see him again a few weeks later, but also to see him on the Success Chronicles. So I hope you continue with this series in the future.
Well, that's the plan. One of the things that I appreciate and love so much about Japan and the culture is their dedication to perfection. Like, it is so amazing to me. Going out to eat is so different in the United States than it is in Japan. And I wish that I could somehow articulate the level of excellence and perfection in a Japanese meal. Like, it's so beyond anything we have in the United States. But I wanted to buy a knife in Japan. And so we went into one of the old knife shops in Kyoto, and I was looking at this gorgeous knife up on the wall. And the owner, I think, she comes up to me and she's asking these questions about what I'm going to use it for, my experience with knives, and I love cooking. And I was kind of telling her, she's like, well, have you ever had a knife like this before? I was like, nope, never have. But it's a beautiful knife. And she goes, you can't buy this one then. And she removed it from my hands, and it was an expensive knife. And she was like, you can't buy that one. You're not capable of handling that knife. You have to buy this cheaper one. And she hands me this other knife that was a third of the cost of it. and was like, here, you buy this one. And she like made me buy this whole sharpening kit and gave me these YouTube videos to watch. And she's like, use this one first, learn to sharpen it. And then when you become proficient at that, you come back to Japan and you can buy this more expensive knife. And I'm sitting there like, are you kidding? Like, that is just not America. America, they would have sold me that expensive knife in a heartbeat because of the profitability. But in Japan, there's so much about perfection and culture, and like that permeates. It feels like everything in the Japanese society, and it's something that I love about Japan. Just the dedication and the focus to become good at something. That's my overarching thread of Japan. Is like, it's just this community, this country of quality. What have you noticed inside of people that have success, that as you've watched the Success Chronicles, is there a similar thread of something you would pull out from those conversations that you would say the people that have success exhibit X, Y, and Z characteristics?
I have two things to say. The first one relates to your experience in Japan. You may be aware of it, or you may be, unaware of it. But I think tax lien code, the way you created tax lien code, and particularly the way it's run, is that you have the same level of pride, craftsmanship, customer service experience, all of those things that you praise Japan about. You're probably either copying or implementing yourself with tax lien code. You may or may not be aware of it. So you brought those traits with you, or maybe you already had them, but they were magnified, I think, in tax lien code. And as far as the Success Chronicles, the common theme, there's so many, but one I think is curiosity, and a desire to improve. And I think another thing, now that I think about it, has to do with a respect for, the individual. So that person's respect for themselves and their hope for themselves and their willingness to invest in themselves. Plus I think their love of family. Everybody, I think, has talked about, the importance of what they're doing for their family, either immediately or mid to long term. So, within tax lien code family, there are, individual families, and when each family's stronger, then tax lien, the larger tax lien code family will be stronger.
Robert, I appreciate that so much. It's one of the nicest compliments I think anybody's ever given me or tax lien code. If we could have a sliver of perfection like Japan, I think I would count that as a success. So thank you. I've enjoyed this so much. I appreciate you guys waking up so early to jump on this call, and I appreciate the insight. And I wish we could go on for hours and hours because I have so many more questions, but we'll just have to do it again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in person again.
Living overseas for Robert and Emiko has a specific set of challenges. And one of the ones that he mentioned, and he's found a solution for, is the geographical distance between him and the rest of the community. And so he's overcome that by being so active, watching these Success Chronicles, being active in Discover. But he talked so much about how that community was important to him, being around and learning from everybody else. It's amazing to me, the benefit and the lift that community gives. I hope you're a part of our Discover community. I hope you feel at home here, because it's a place we kind of love.